think they will have in 20 plus 2023? What sort of jobs? No, just name some professions, you know, it doesn't matter, just a profession you think they will have. White collar jobs, slave mamas. Slave mama, that's a job, I can tell you that. Programmers, very good.
We have
data scientists. We have. Ultimately, you can't afford to be answering questions.
Terrorism expert.
Terrorism expert. Let's clap for that woman.
Wow.
That's a job. That's a future job, I can tell you that. Anybody else? Yes?
Social media lawyer.
Social media lawyer. Let's climate change. Wow, you guys are just awesome. Thinking officers. Wow. Thinking officers. Computers can't do that for you. So we're already here. We know that some of the jobs that our students are going to take up are not existing. They're not in existence. But there is something that is key. They will need to think. They will need to work with people, right? They will need to manage problems. They will need to be time managers, right? And I guess most importantly, they will at least need to learn how to code. Because it will become something that is like reading. A lot of people will code and keep coding, and it'll be a reading manual, really. And sometimes, at some point, they will probably not need to code, because coding would have been prepared for them. Who would agree with me? I said who would agree, not disagree, so don't disagree. Who would agree with me that spelling is not such a great skill?
I don't think there's any right or wrong answer.
Okay.
You need to understand that English is just one of the languages.
Good.
So, if the child cannot spell in English and is communicating in another language, that is still reading and so it depends on perspective. And if the child wants to be professionally translating and doing work on CNN and translating properly, yeah. If the child wants to be doing something that doesn't require a lot of English, I am a lover of English, so I find it difficult to say that it's not.
Yes. Let me tell you, I wanted to provoke you. I wanted to provoke you seriously to get you to think. Because yes, spelling is important. Actually, it is. But if you notice what I said, I said, if your grading system is heavily tilted towards spelling, do you get that? I was hoping someone would pick up on that. But that's what the goal for today. When you test children, you name them and label them and say that this is what they can do and what they cannot do. I can tell you for free, the students that we're teaching today, the jobs they will take tomorrow, everything will spell everything for them. So if you're going to grade that child and you're thinking that you've done that child some service by telling them that they have an F in spelling, you're doing wrong, and educators should be the primary source of encouraging students to be better tomorrow. So what am I trying to get at? I'm trying to get at the future jobs. I'm trying to get at what we're doing with our curriculum. We know that by 2025, we will lose over 5 million jobs to automation. Jobs will disappear as we know it, and there will be new jobs. You know that iPhones didn't exist 15 years ago, right? Even GSM, all the phones that you had, 2001, right? Before 2001, did we have it? When the doctors were learning, in those days, the doctors had to memorize the internal body, because, well, that was the only way for them to learn how it functions and what they can do with it when there is an issue. But today, doctors will perform a surgery with you, seeing the entire body system while they're going through it. And gone are those days that we have factory workers. Now robots are taking over, doing most things. We heard from everyone. And we now know that even though it feels like teachers are going to, everybody's scared that teachers are going to lose their jobs. But the truth is that teaching will emancipate. So it will be a new kind of job, or a new kind of job that requires new sets of skills. So it's going to definitely be an important job as well, because yes, the future world of work is great for teachers, but only teachers who are ready for it, and teachers who are ready for automation. So what should we be teaching in our schools today? What sort of curriculum should we run in our schools today? I've heard a lot of things, and I really quickly comment on the issue with primary rushing your kids and stuff like that. I often tell parents that if you are the yardstick for your child, for your child's progress tomorrow, you have actually limited your child. Because you're just one limitation in the big space of things, which is this life and the future to come. And children always think about what, they always think outside the box. They're always 2 steps ahead of us. And I'm sure you know this even from your own children. Many times when you think you know your child, something happens and you'll be so shocked about it, isn't it? Teachers, we see this every time. We hear parents coming to us, but my child does not do this at home. I have a parent who says, my daughter says she doesn't have friends at school. And we prove to her by videoing the girl during the break time. And that's what you have at home. But we are teachers, and we know that these things are very, very important. One of the greatest skills that will be required in the future world of work is time management, conflict resolution. Our children, our students are going to freelance. They will have more than one job. You already do, right? So there will be jobs like social media data analyst, like he said. There will be climate change, a lot of jobs in green technology. And we're talking about jobs because the essence of education is what? To get a job, and that job, well, we can define it as running your own business. They're all jobs. So I like when we play on the words, but they're all jobs. So you run the business, you own your own, you have a job. And so there will be things like that. I recently read about extinct gene resuscitation, something like that. You know, species that are going extinct, we will have jobs, we'll have people who will be revivalists of those kinds of extinct. So there will be all kinds, which means that whatever we're teaching in the curriculum today must be completely relevant to the future world of work. If you think about mathematics, and you think about English language, and now we're hearing Right Kid 101, new subjects will come up. But they'll come up from existing ones, right? Existing ones, because we have to always take from what we know to get us to a new place. So when we get that form of integration, so I often tell people, your curriculum should be one that is integrated. You hear people say British curriculum, Nigerian curriculum, all of those kinds of funny things. But I often say, you see, when the people come and tell you outdoor learning, we're the kings and queens of outdoor learning. They just have the language, we do it. It's new, it's not a new concept to Africans. We did everything outside, how about you? And then now we defined it, and in English language it's called outdoor learning. But we did ours under the trees, and we only learned to do. The kind of system of education they have borrowed to us now, they tell us we should have learning by doing. But that was apprenticeship that we had. Now we are jumping queues and taking kids to school when they are from grade 4 to. What we had when they came to, they tell us that the appropriate age for secondary school is 12. But when we had our apprenticeship system, you had to be 12. You had to have the hands go there. And we knew it, we had our own unique science. But we jettisoned it for the foreign education. Yeah, that's where we are now. Lord, I recently read something that was very shocking. And he says, I think it's Lord Lugard, right? Was it Lugard? I can't remember now. Skip my mind. And he said that if they gave us their own education, at least we can take away, because they found us to be honest people. We didn't steal, we didn't lie. You know, someone told me, my mentor said, that the system of education in Nigeria is not falling. It's the European system of education that is failing and falling in Nigeria. So we need to own and have our own systems of education. We need to have a new curriculum that is to be defined to prepare Nigerian children for the future world of work, which is globalized. So today we have people who are creating solutions, Edverse and all of them. This Edverse solution is not Nigerian, it's global. Because again, when you think about it, it's a solution that can be used any part of the world. This is where China scores heavily, Japan scores heavily, because they refused to deny themselves who they were. Character education is a big deal in Japan. We all saw the World Cup, right? It was only the Japanese team that left their dressing room better than the way they saw it. Because it is culture and education in Japan to clean up after yourself. And then we're complaining about dirty roads and corruption. If corruption is not your math word problems, you're doing wrong. Because what is Nigeria's problem? Corruption. Everything that you're supposed to be teaching today, corruption should be inside of it. Your comprehension passages should talk about corruption. Your social studies should invest in corruption. Your mathematics should have all world problems under corruption. And you should have, at the same time, data and statistics. So your secondary school students should be going around and asking questions, why is water not running? How many households don't have water? That's what you should be teaching your secondary school and your primary schools. Your integrated science should be asking also, weaving corruption into it, because that is our problem. And then when we do that, you'll be amazed at how much the students we're teaching are going to create solutions for Nigeria and for Africa. You'll be amazed because they know more than you do. I often say one person in a class with 25 children, you know nothing compared to those 25 brains. So if we, like he said, neuroscience flipped, there you go. Neuro something flipped classroom. Neurological flipped learning models. Neuropsychological flipped. Yes, and we think about all of those things and we're saying, okay, so if we know now that our students are supposed to have big skills in time management, that means our mathematics will be dealing with that as well, right? If they're going to be conflict resolutionists, which will need, someone said terrorism experts, that's a conflict resolutioner. That's a job that's going to exist because it seems like the world is prepared to fight more. When they say peace, 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 they actually screaming war, war, war. Because one territory is about to take over the others. But the point I'm trying to make is that education is going to be more personalized. And personalization of learning or personalized curriculum is what we should be looking at. And that's what the model that Prof has given to us is trying to preach. When we have to teach children, what do we want them to be? What do we think that they're going to be? So I'm proposing a curriculum for Nigeria. And the curriculum, of course, is around corruption and agriculture. And so my favorite subjects are civic education, mathematics, literacy, and science. And someone said to me that in the North, and this may be a little controversial, that in the North, and it's not my thinking, in the North, for them to get to school, they have to travel for about 2 hours because school is far. When they get to school, they're already hungry. And when it's 12 o'clock, because they have to travel back to school, back home, it takes another 2 hours. So when it's 12 o'clock, they want to go home. And the person asks, should we then teach every subject in that part of the North? Now, I'm not speaking North generally, in that specific area, which I refuse to speak about, call its name. Should we then teach mathematics, English, science, civics, security education, and all of those things? What should they be learning? Numeracy and numeracy for business. So when you say numeracy and literacy, you're saying mathematics and English, right? But I would have added agriculture, I would have added financial literacy. Because at the end of the day, we want to empower those people to have jobs for the future. So who can then tell me what sort of curriculum am I proposing? What am I trying to say that we should teach our students? Let us look into the subjects that we have and do away with memorization. So our methods have to change. That's what I'm proposing, your methods. And then all of us who are stuck to one curriculum, I'm sorry, you're missing out on a lot of things. I found on my own journey that the American curriculum is one of the most rigorous curriculum. You know why? Because they went around the world and borrowed everybody's system. That's why those people keep being number one. They take the best of you and infuse. And now from when people say American curriculum, I say you don't know it. I can prove to you that you don't know it. If you know what it looks like, you will know it's one of the most rigorous curriculums around the world. And then we have to then own our own method. So now I'm speaking to teachers who have students who are going to be global students, right? Most of you are, is there any teacher from public school here? None. Anybody from public school? Okay, you have some. Good. And when you look at it in your classrooms, don't you feel like you rob your students sometimes when all you do is, speak to them? Because you have how many students in your classroom? Over 100. Tell me what that teacher can achieve with whatever curriculum. So what do you have to do? Take the lesson to them, right? Take the lesson to them, give it back to them. So it's more about our methods. It's more about our methods. Anybody can dictate a curriculum and give to you. But at the end of the day, it's how you deliver on it that counts. So how are we delivering on our lessons so that the students that we're teaching are prepared for the future world of work? One thing that you need to look out for is students' voice and choice. If your classroom is quiet, your classroom is dead. Nothing is happening there. Run away and be afraid of a classroom that is quiet. Like he said, keep quiet, do away with that. There's something called organized noise. You need it in your classroom, because then you know if what learning is authentic. So and we are talking about the future world of work, right? The jobs that our students are going to have. So if the jobs are going to be varied, currently I do social media, don't you? And many businesses are run on social media today. So if you have a student who is very good at communicating, doing videos, that's a job. They are videographers, that's a job. And even us teachers, speaking about what our jobs will look like as well. You know today that if you're a teacher without tech skills, you're almost in trouble, because the good jobs will not come to you. They will go to the other people who have those skills. So today we are trying to encourage you to get your methods right, look into your subjects and take out those meaningless things. A lot of people believe that children have to define. You see, let me give you a classic example. My son's science teacher, and someone here can corroborate, because our kids are in the same classroom. She will, if for example she wants to ask them or test them on photosynthesis, she will not ask them what is photosynthesis. She will not ask. She will present two models of plants and then create one is looking good, colorful and everything. The other one, something is wrong with it. And then she would ask them, what are the conditions that are leading to this leaf? What are the differences between these two? And what is the condition that have led to this particular leaf looking this way? And then the students have to think. In your English language, same thing. All the what questions have to go away. You must include a lot of whys and how. So it's about the language, the communication that you have. What way do you want to communicate with your students? Now we'll allow them to think. Then today we have apps. All kinds of tech tools that allow us to be able to get children to work with time. You see, timing your students in the classroom is a very important skill. And I know we do it a lot, but teachers have not yet perfected the skill of working along with time. And I hear teachers often say, oh, they ask us to do all of these lofty ideas, have all these good things, but our students cannot. We cannot, finish this concept, all of these great ideas in the classroom. That's because we're not using all the tools that are available to us, like Tola said. That technology is a tool. So if you try Flip Classroom, it will work. If you try you see, the language is not our own. I was a proponent, I supported the motion that we should teach using our language. I supported it, and I'm a strong believer in it as well. Because again, cells will never change from being cells, right? So if you're teaching Yoruba, you're teaching with Yoruba, you cannot change cell. It will be celly, highest, right? Yes, and there's so many things. Photosynthesis will be photosynthesis. Quadratic, it cannot change. We didn't write the curriculum, so we can't change the language that is being used. But there's something language does. You make a whole lot of sense with it. So you use all kinds of dangerous methods to get your students to learn. But look inward into your curriculum and think about the world of work tomorrow. That students will be needing to be good video makers, become content creators, video skills, data analysts, and then change your math questions. So even if you're teaching division, let every subject, everything you teach, create a problem for every concept. Even if you're teaching agriculture, agri science, create a problem in it. So we must be problem solving rather than telling. We must be questioning rather than telling. We must be looking for statistics rather than telling. So what did I mention? Questioning, statistics, problem solving. If you infuse these three things in your curriculum and in every subject and concept you teach, you are preparing students for the future world of work. Questioning, statistics, and what? Problem solving. Let your students ask questions for every topic. But then the best way is you give them the questions, let them throw the solution back to you. Thank you.